Hi, this is Fred. Today I've got the best smoked salmon recipe you will ever try. So I really encourage you to try this. First of all, let's look at the fillets. The salmon fillets that I've got out here, they're just caught in Lake Michigan, and they're just I'm just patting them dry. I'm just going to try to get them dry enough for the dry brine that we're going to use today. Now, if you look at the brine, what I have over here in the bowl is simply 4 cups of brown sugar for every 1 cup of salt. And what I'm using, just so you know specifically, it doesn't really matter, but Domino light brown sugar. You can use dark brown sugar too, that works fine. And then we've got over here the kosher salt. Morton kosher salt is good. As long as it's kosher, it's kosher. So then if we go over to the bowl, you can see the bowl. I've got the brown sugar and the salt just sitting there. I've started to mix it a little bit, but you just want to take your hands and just kind of work through it. Just try to get it all mixed up. And then when this is all done, I'll show you part 2 of what to do. Okay, step 2. Now that you've got all of your mixture mixed, now you just take a little bit of that mixture, that brine, which is a dry rub essentially, and you take a little pinch of that and you put it on the bottom of a glass bowl. Okay, it can be a ceramic. Never ever would you ever want to use steel or some kind of metal, because salt and metal doesn't mix very well. So you either use ceramic by rule, ceramic, or glass is perfect. That's all you need. So you line the bottom of it like that with a little bit of your mixture, and then you lay your fillets, start laying your fillets in there. And you just want to try to cover the bottom. And then once you got the bottom covered, then you take a little bit more of your rub, kind of sprinkle it on there. You know, the thicker the better. If you have a lot of rub, you can make it real thick. You're not going to overdo it. You're not going to overdo it with this brine, pretty much. So I've got a layer of my rub on there. Just want to try to get it even, real even. Okay, then you take another layer of fish and you start putting it on there too. Alright, so then you got a little bit more. And again, you just put your rub on the fish. And then kind of pat it down in there so that it sticks. Alright, and then just put another layer in there. It's never going to look perfect, but you just got to make sure that it all gets covered. And so I think by now you probably have the idea of what we're doing here. So you just keep filling up that bowl till you get to the top. And what's going to happen is you'll see in the next little video that I'm going to attach as one video, is you're going to see that after a couple hours that fish will draw all the fat out of itself, and your bowl is going to be filled with this ugly looking liquid. But that's okay. You're going to drain that out a little bit later. Okay. So this is what your bowl is going to look like once it's all done. It's going to look kind of like this. So yes, the top layer also has the rub on it as well. And what you're going to do is you're going to put that in your refrigerator for 24 hours. Don't go any less. If you go a little bit more, it's not going to hurt. But don't think that you're just going to do it overnight. The more that it has time to cure in this brine, the better it's going to taste. So try to do it about 24 hours, and that works. In the refrigerator, don't do it out in the warm air of the room, but it's got to be in the refrigerator to be safe. And again, what you're going to see in a couple hours when you go back to your refrigerator, you're going to see this goop inside of here that is coming off the fish. You don't need to drain it yet, okay? So we're going to do that later after the 24-hour period. Then we'll see the next step. So we'll go to the next step in a minute. Okay, now it's been 24 hours sitting in the fridge, and here's what it looks like. And you can see that there's just like a brown goop there. That's fat that comes off the fish combined with brown sugar and salt. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rinse off these fillets. You don't want to rub them. You don't want to rub this stuff off. Just kind of rinse them off briefly, then put them in a strainer. Make sure it's cold water, not warm water like I just had on. Just a really quick rinse and just put them in a strainer. Okay, now I've got all my fillets laid out here, and I'll show you what we're looking at. And also what I did was I sprayed a little bit of this PAM on here to make sure that the fillets don't stick to the surface of the grates. Also, let me show you the smoker. I've got a smoker here that is it's just under 200 degrees. You really should be at about 150 to maybe 170. Otherwise it's too hot. And so I'm just trying to cool down the smoker right now. And so you can see I'm kind of waiting for that temperature to go down a little bit. Right now it's at about 190.
Yeah.
Come on, quit that. And then what I'm going to do here too is pat down my fillets. Because the fillets are wet on the outside, I want to try to pat them down so that they're dry. And then it takes about 2 to 3 hours. You just have to watch it after about 2 hours, take a look at it and see if it's done, if it's not. And it all depends on the day. If it's really a calm day like today and it's warm out, you could probably be done in about 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes. If it's windy and cold, it's going to take closer to 3. But we'll show you what they look like when they're done. Okay, right now we've got the perfect smoke happening with this smoker. I want to show you how much it's smoking and show you the temp, and also show you what I have the dial set on, just so you have an idea of how to smoke your fish. But you'll see how it's really smoking good. The temp there, I don't know if you can see that, but it's right on about 150, which is perfect. You wanted the coolest smoke possible. 150 is not too bad. That's really cool. You never ever want to do it like 180 or 200. Don't ever smoke your fish that hot. It'll be too much. Okay, and then you'll notice the dial set on about medium or a little bit less than medium. Between like a medium low. It's a hot day, so it's easier to cool it off a little bit. If it's rainy and cold and windy, it's going to take longer to get the temp right, but right now it's a perfect day. Finally, once the fillets are all cooked, then I let them sit for like a half hour to an hour, let them cool off. Then I dribble a little honey on top, and then I brush it with a butter brush. So here's what that looks like. Yummy, yummy, yummy.